My name is Elias Thorne, and for the next 3 days, this knife and I are all that stand between me and this endless jungle. I step under the dark canopy, scanning the ground for dry bark and leaves, knowing my first fire will decide how my first night goes. With each cut into the branch, I shape a walking stick, something solid to lean on when the jungle tries to knock me down. Under the burning midday sun, I throw together a rough lean-to from branches and leaves, because shelter means energy, and energy means survival. At a muddy stream, I dig a small hole with my knife, letting the water seep clear through the sand before I dare to drink. When the sky opens up and rain hammers the trees, I race to tighten my roof, slicing vines and lashing everything down before it all collapses. As the light softens, I carve a spear from a straight branch, picturing the moment this crude weapon becomes my dinner. Night wraps around me like a living thing, and I crouch by the fire with my knife ready, listening to the jungle breathe just beyond the flames. At first light, I follow fresh tracks in the mud, cutting low branches aside and marking trees behind me, so I never get truly lost. The river is shallow, but fast, and I hold my knife high as I pick my way across the rocks, hunting for higher and safer ground. In a small clearing, I crouch over my first snare, shaping stakes and twisting vine, trusting this simple trap to pay off before my strength runs out. I split a green bamboo stalk with the tip of my blade, smiling as it opens into a rough container that might just boil my water. Thunder growls overhead, so I slice wide palm leaves and lay them thick beneath my shelter, refusing to sleep in the cold mud again. With slow, careful strokes, I carve a notch into a tree for day one, a mark that says, I was here, and I'm still fighting. Holding the knife flat, I catch a flash of sunlight on the steel, angling it toward the open sky on the off chance someone is looking down. By the stream, I clean a small fish with practice cuts, sliding the blade under its skin before skewering it over the hungry fire. Climbing a slick slope, I drive the knife into the earth for balance, every step a gamble that the ground won't slide out from under me. When blisters burn on my feet, I slice strips from my shirt and wrap them tight, trading comfort now for distance later. Sitting in the green shade, I whittle a tiny hook from wood, picturing the moment a fish tugs my improvised line. Standing knee-deep in dark water, I calmly cut leeches from my legs, reminding myself that panic wastes more blood than they ever could. When a fall leaves me tangled in vines, I hack through the green ropes in slow motion, feeling the jungle reluctantly let me go. High between two trees, I build a narrow platform, sharpening pegs with my knife and trusting this shaky nest to keep me off the ground tonight. Sparks leap as steel scrapes the ferro rod, and when a single ember catches, I breathe it into flame like my life depends on it, because it does. I slice open a strange jungle fruit, sniffing and tasting just the tiniest piece, knowing one bad decision could end this story early. With daylight fading, I push myself into a rough jog through the undergrowth, determined to reach the ridge before the second night traps me below. At a crossroads of game trails, I carve a bold arrow into the bark and the word water, leaving a message for anyone who might follow. When glowing eyes appear just beyond the firelight, I rise, spread my shoulders, raise my knife, and show the jungle I'm not prey. After a careless cut on a thorny bush, I slice cloth and twist a tight tourniquet, promising myself I'll move slower and smarter from now on. On day 2, when fear creeps in, I carve a small wooden totem with my knife, letting each careful cut steady my breathing. I slash into thick jungle vines and hold them over my mouth, drinking the cool water that drips out like lifeblood from the forest. As the second night closes in, I lay out my entire world knife, toward a few tools I carved myself, and realize how little a man truly needs. Down by the rocks, I slam a fish against stone and pin it with my knife, wasting no movement as I clean it for the fire. By flickering flames, I scratch a message into a flatboard: my name, my number of days, and one word: survive. Twisting vine fibers together, I cut and braid until a strong rope forms in my hands, proof that patience can be as sharp as steel. The morning mist cools my burned skin as I move silently through the trees, knife low, eyes higher, always looking for signs of a way out. Sitting cross-legged, I strip bark into thin strands with tiny, precise cuts, turning scraps of wood into lifelines of cordage. On a windy ridge, I hammer sharpened stakes into the ground with a rock, refusing to let one gust undo all my work. From a hollow piece of bamboo, I carve out a simple whistle, and its thin, shrill note feels like my voice thrown far beyond the trees. Exhausted, I rest my back against a massive trunk, slowly cleaning dirt from my knife, planning one more route, one more gamble. Following a faint animal trail downhill, I cut through heavy ferns, grateful for any path that isn't one I have to create myself. As the third sunrise bleeds through the canopy, I carve an arrow and the word hope into a tree, promising myself this day will be different. Around my small camp, I slice branches into spikes and press them into the earth, building a crude ring of teeth between me and the dark. Crushing wild herbs with the flat of my knife, I smear their scent across my skin, trying to become just another shadow in the jungle. With a stick and my blade, I dig a deeper rain pit, knowing that water caught today might be the edge I need tomorrow. As the final evening settles in, I stare into the flames with my knife across my knees, weighing every choice that brought me this far. I climb a tall tree slowly, cutting shallow footholds as I ascend, chasing even the smallest chance at a clearer view of escape. At the top, I wave a leafy branch and flash the knife's reflection toward the distant hum of engines, sending a desperate signal through the haze. Sliding back to the ground, I sheath the knife at my hip, stamp out the last coals of my fire, and prepare to move toward the sound. When rotor blades finally thunder above the jungle, I sprint toward an open patch, slashing through vines to reach the only piece of sky I've seen in days. Standing in that clearing, mud-streaked and shaking, I grip my knife, look up at the rescue chopper, and realize I've done it. I survived 3 days in the jungle with nothing else.